Welcome to Bon Park.
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 Welcome to Bon Park. I'm Sarah Geidlinger. Due to the COVID-19 quarantine, I'm not allowed to play with Marshall this week. However, he is in this upcoming episode with Kathleen Barsoom. Kathleen is the Waste Management Communication Coordinator for the region of Waterloo. She took us on a tour of our local facility, and we learned all kinds of stuff, like what happens to your blue box items after you've left them at the curb, what mistakes you might be making at home, and we learned that a lot of the stuff that gets recycled is actually done locally. Did you know that the Blue Box program was created right here in Waterloo region by Niall Ludoff? Kathleen taught us that and a whole lot more on our visit. Don't we all want to make a difference? Let's talk to her. Kathleen Barsoom, thank you so much for being here on Bon Park, and thanks for taking us through the facility today. My eyes have been wide opened by what we saw.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. I think Marshall can agree that I feel grossly misinformed. I thought I knew a lot about recycling and sorting and the things that I can do in the region, but I've learned so much today.
Yeah, there were parts of it that I mentioned. They look like a permanent art installation. You know, it's incredible. There's beauty in here, along with every other kind of sight and sound, and many moving parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many.
We actually have that reaction often when people come for a tour of the site, and we hear the comment, everybody who lives in Waterloo region should come for the tour.
I totally agree.
Yep.
Yeah. Because it is impactful. That's what you were going to say? Mm-hmm. So what all did we see today? Let's run through everything that we saw. We started out in the administration building, of course, and then we headed over to the sorting center. And why don't you tell people a little bit about what happens in the sorting center?
All of the blue box materials that are collected curbside all the way across the region are brought into this one sorting center. And the job of this sorting center is to sort each material type by the type of material that it is.
Yeah.
So, for instance, it has steel cans have to be separated from aluminum cans, and all the different types of plastic numbers have to be separated. We don't recycle here, we sort here. So we make sure that the material is high enough quality that when it goes to the recycling processor, then it can just be used into their machinery.
And you said something like down to 1% of, I don't know, what was the terminology? It has to be pure within 1% or something.
That's
like
right.
that.
When we're sending it to people, to manufacturing facilities, they want to just feed it right into their machinery. So it has to be well sorted. The allowance is 1% contamination. No more than 1% contamination of any bale that we send over there has to be just that one type of material.
Right.
That's difficult to reach.
Well, from what we saw today, there's so many processes. Like Marshall, there were machines coming in. There were trucks coming in with loads of stuff from the region. Then there's machinery with magnets that's sorting things, and there's humans that are sorting things, and there's forklifts. That's not the right term. They're bobcats. Dozers, sorting things. There's the moving parts. What all goes on in there?
I think the message that we send to the homeowners is put all of your papers and plastic bags into one box and put all your containers in the other box. And you saw why. When the trucks come in, the trucks empty all of their papers on one side that's sorted completely different. The trucks circle the building and empty all their containers on the other side. And your containers is anything that's held food or drink. It's a vessel. So each container has to be sorted. And you saw all the sorting lines, all the magnets, all the optic sorters that go on to make sure that the sorting is done so cleanly.
Yeah, it's definitely, me and Marshall were saying, it's definitely more of a hands-on process than I would have assumed.
Yeah, people equate that to the old Lucille Ball show. When
Totally
she's working on the
line.
chocolate. That's it. People,
Right.
the hands are moving back and forth. That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
But that final sort room is important because it does. We do have to get down to that level of so well sorted that
the message that came across loud and clear to me is that the real responsibility and the good choices have to be made at home. And that's the very beginning of this process.
Let's talk about that, because we were talking about the 3 R's and everyone focuses on recycling, right? But those 2, reduce and reuse, are the ones that are going to change most of the process, right?
That's absolutely right. So the first and is the most important R, the reduce. So take that back into your purchase decisions. If you can avoid buying something that is not recyclable, that does 2 things. Once it means it cleans up our line, but it also sends the message back to the store, back to the manufacturer, that maybe that this type of product mix isn't something that people will buy for its sort of recyclability.
Right.
Can I just show you this?
Please.
Right
Okay.
now?
So Kathleen has a table full of all sorts of different recyclables and non-recyclables that she's going to show us. So go for it.
Well, it can be confusing for sure.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that we as municipalities, we're waste handlers. We don't have influence into what the manufacturers make their materials out of, make their product packaging out of.
And you really should.
Sometimes there's a disconnect over what can be recycled and what they're using. So one product that I have here, and it's a can of nuts, but this could be coffee can, it could be paint. You've seen this a lot. It reminds me of the old frozen orange juice containers.
Yes, the concentrate.
So what we have is different materials. So we have tin, some sort of metal on the bottom. We have the paper cylinder, round cylinder. We have a foil top, which is not real foil, by the way. It's a laminate plastic, a non-recyclable plastic.
Right.
And then we have the plastic lid. So as is, this is not a recyclable item. We can't send it to the paper manufacturer because of all the plastic, or say the metal and the plastic. We can't send it to the tin manufacturer because of the paper. So this is just a hot mess for us.
Yeah.
So if you can avoid buying things with mixed material and just get one solid, one material container, that would be perfect.
Like maybe a bag of nuts or you know, you can't get a glass jar of nuts, but
Or, just a solid plastic,
Yeah.
plastic bottom, plastic top that can be recycled. So mixed material, quite a problem, particularly in paints. It's surprising.
Oh,
yeah, that's and I'm thinking of all the things that I do actually purchase
Yeah.
that are made out of that, and I will rethink that now that I know better, because I have put that in my blue bin.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So if I can go back to the 3 R's,
Please.
though. So reduce. Marshall, you're absolutely correct. The absolute power for the success of the Blue Box program is with our residents. It is with the purchaser, what they purchase, and then what they decide at home to put into their Blue Box. They have the power to make or break our program, but fortunately in Waterloo Region, we are really good recyclers.
That's because we invented it, right?
It's right. The Blue Box was invented right here. But we're hearing a lot from the press from all over. But I want to guarantee to all the listeners here that here in the region of Waterloo, 90 to 95% of the material that's collected in the Blue Box process is recycled. We aren't sending stuff to landfill. And the recycling is done locally. And there are a lot of local recycling processors, but the problem goes back to the sorting. It has to be really well sorted or the processors won't accept it. Because we stayed with our 2 Blue Box program, some of the other municipalities went to big, large carts. And the problem with big, large carts is contamination. They're more apt to have contamination in them. So some other municipalities are struggling with 30-40% contamination.
Now, what do you mean by contamination in that sense? What are you referring to?
Good question. Contamination can be the wrong type of material in the cart, like putting odd things into your recycling cart, things that aren't recyclable in your cart, like shoes, bowling balls, that kind of stuff.
Oh, we saw some stuff today.
Yeah, the Hall of Shame.
Yeah, the Hall of Shame. Yeah.
It's not the Hall of Shame. They're Blue Box bloopers.
Okay.
Just
Oh, I
right.
like that. I like that better.
People just don't know. So our job is to educate them.
We saw a lot of things when we walked through the gangway, I guess. Is that what you call that? To get to the sorting center. And I took some photos of them that we'll include with the show. But my, oh my, an adding machine from the 50s or 60s, a Guitar Hero guitar, a toilet seat, a children's fireman's hat. What else did we see?
Things that would never get through airport security.
Things that would never get. Oh, knives.
Knives, yeah.
Knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see butcher knives often in the Blue Box. People want to recycle, but we just have to focus on the stuff that we can send to processors. So
Right.
we can't take toys, and we can't take other types of metals. We get a lot of car parts.
Yeah, I saw that.
We do have scrap metal drop off. I mean, it can be recycled. It just can't be collected selected with our processes.
Okay, so let's go back to what you were saying. So we stayed with the 2 boxes.
We stayed with the 2 boxes.
And why is that important to us residents, and what should we be doing? Because we're making mistakes.
Well, we are making mistakes, but staying with the 2 boxes means that it makes it easy to sort. It
Right.
makes it easy to sort in the house. Put all your food containers, food and drink, personal care, cleaning containers into one box. Put all your paper and plastic bags into the other box. We have the collectors that come along. They'll do a quick observation. They'll try to leave things behind that are not recyclable, but they're doing 1,000 stops a day. I mean, that's not a perfect system. And then when it comes into the recycling center, one side goes to the truck, half of the truck empties at the paper side, and then the other half goes to the container side. Then the real sorting begins. But that's a fine sorting. So we want to make sure that the stuff here is good. Again, keeping to this blue box size, I think it's just a visual. People can see if it's wrong stuff. And we provide these stickers here. If people would like to call in, we can send them free stickers that says container only that you can stick on your blue box and paper only. It gives you visuals on what can go in there.
And they're very descriptive. Like I can see from here, this peanuts can is not on there.
Yeah.
And you know these shapes. Yeah. You know what you're looking at when you're looking here. Yeah.
So because we have well sorted materials coming in, by the time we finish our sorting, we can get down to that 1%, that 1% contamination, and that's what all municipalities their goal for right now is to get down to that 1% contamination. So again, there are lots of local processors handy. Like for instance, steel cans. Hey Marshall. Aerosol cans in the blue box, yes or no?
No.
I thought it was yes.
It is yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
I thought I was wrong.
Aerosol cans, if they're completely empty, they can go into the blue box as a container.
Yeah, okay.
So aerosol cans and soup cans are both made out of steel. So they're collected, they're sorted together, and then they're sent to Hamilton to the steel plants. They're rolled down or melted, re-rolled, and made into new product.
Amazing.
Also, our fridges and stoves will go there. That we will collect them.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Everything will
great.
go locally.
So with the whipped cream can, there's no access, and you shouldn't be messing with it to go inside and clean it.
No.
So you're putting something in the bin that clearly has some food in it of some kind. What happens there?
Well, you're referring to the aerosol can. The whipped cream is
Yep.
the aerosol can. So if you shake it, it should be completely empty. Please don't put aerosol cans in with any type of content in it.
Because of the pressure, it is actually
That's right.
clean.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's right.
Now, Marshall and I were speaking earlier just amongst ourselves about like a peanut butter jar.
Yeah.
Or what happens there? Are we supposed to be scrubbing that right down and out?
Yep. Well, I have to tell you, a steel can that had dog food in it sitting in the blue box that wasn't rinsed, for a whole week in August.
Sounds real fun.
It's disgusting. Yeah. So please, it doesn't have to go through the dishwasher, but please give it a rinse. So we recommend, before you pull your plug out of your sink after you do your dishes or your kids do your dishes, you just give it a swish around. Peanut butter, I found a great way to clean out peanut butter from the glass or plastic jars. So you put some hot oatmeal in there and you stir it around. The
eat it.
oatmeal will, collect all the peanut butter. There's your breakfast. You eat it and you have a clean jar.
Okay, this is smart.
Isn't that great?
Okay, people, this is something you can do in your house when your peanut butter is near the end.
That's right. Just, rinse them all out. That's very, very helpful for us. Is there any product on this table here, Marshall, that you're not sure about? I'm going to pick on you.
Right.
There's something icky.
Well, I question many, many things that go into our blue bin unless it clearly has a recycling symbol on it. So that Tim Hortons cup, for example, I'm not exactly sure for sure. There's something that would have had like mandarins or clementines in it. So it's wood and then some meshy plastic material and then some paper on the side. And then lastly, I can see
and staples.
The staples. And then a great example of where you have a package, maybe it's often with kids' toys, where it's a combination of cardboard and plastic. And sometimes those things can be very difficult to separate.
Okay, let's go over them.
Yeah.
Oh, great examples. The toys, they're electronic packaging, aren't they? They're the ones that you cut your fingers when you open them.
Right.
You need scissors to bash through them. So that plastic can be recycled.
Yeah.
Can you tell me which box it goes in? The container box or the paper box?
Container box.
But right now, you're right. It goes. Yeah. There's a problem with this packaging right now in that the paper, the advertising paper, is still wrapped in the packaging. Yeah. So in order to get that recycled, you'd have to pull out the paper, separate the paper, put that paper into the paper blue box, put that the plastic container into the container blue box.
Right.
That can be recycled.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hardest part with that thing is opening it, for sure.
Oh yeah. There's a product that is sold specifically specifically to open this
open
type
it.
of packaging.
right.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't have it, but I know it exists.
Now for plastics are the only ones things that you'll see the recycle symbol on. You don't see those on tin cans or pop cans or something. So we do take products, and again, I want to emphasize it's food, drink, cleaning products, personal care products, stuff you'd buy from the grocery store. We take numbers 1 through 7 in them. All of them can come in. Just
Okay.
make sure they're all rinsed out. Like right now, I'm holding just a container that had an oil jug on it. It's got the nice recycle thing on the bottom. Make sure it's empty. I've just quickly rinsed that out. I've squished it down. If you squish it down, you get more room in the blue box, but it helps prevent the wind from picking up and blowing it away.
Smart.
And we know
Yeah.
that's a problem.
We know that's a problem.
That's right. So
In our
squish it down.
West Waterloo here.
And we're not encouraging people drink water bottles. I mean, our tap water is wonderful. But if you do drink any type of single-use beverage, please also do the same thing. Rinse it out, squish it down, recap it. There was a
Okay.
while there the caps weren't made of the same plastic, but
And
they are.
They are now. Okay, because to me, I've held that myth true that if the cap is still on, it goes in the landfill. They don't. Okay,
No, not
so
true,
the
not
cap
true.
is okay,
The
but you
cap-
should be drinking your tap water.
You should be drinking your tap water. Save yourself some money. Absolutely. There, I'm just going to toss that right into the container box.
So this Tim Hortons cap I need to talk about for sure.
Let's
To
get
me, I'm going to tell you what I think, and then you can tell me
Okay.
the truth.
Yeah.
I think the lid is garbage and the paper is recyclable.
You are incorrect.
Okay. I think a lot of people think what I think.
Yeah. Actually,
In general.
so we only take paper coffee cups. We
Okay.
don't take styrofoam. Styrofoam is just something we
Right.
cannot recycle.
Those are rare
I
too.
think
anyway.
everybody gets that,
Yeah.
don't they?
That's right. So we can take all types of paper coffee cups. And what we ask you to do is take off the lid because the lid has the recycle symbol. The lid is made out of plastic. The lid will go to a plastic manufacturer. Take the lid off the plastic, put both of these into the containers only blue box. The paper cup will go with cartons that can be recycled.
Okay.
But let me tell you something. What if I tell you that 6.5 million trees are cut down every year just to make disposable, single-use, one-time only paper cups? Does that make you want to not use these?
it
Take
totally
your
does.
refillable mug. Take your refillable mug.
We all have them.
That's right. Go
There's-
back.
I'd challenge people to say they don't have a refillable mug in their house.
Right.
We've all got them.
But that goes back to the first R.
Yeah.
Don't make the garbage in the first place.
Yeah.
Think about ways to not make the garbage.
Right.
But that can go into the containers only blue box.
That's
And
good.
then
I learned something there.
Next thing you asked about was the clementines. Yeah, that is unfortunately not recyclable. So we've got a clementine box here that is made out of wood. Some of them are cardboard now. I haven't actually seen them.
haven't
but some
seen
of them
one.
are. So we've got the plastic mesh, which is a non-recyclable item. The wood container with the clementine is not recyclable. So if you have a fireplace or a backyard fireplace, this is a perfect object
toss
for
in
you.
there.
Otherwise, that would have to go into the garbage.
Oh, it's too bad.
You were almost there. Good job, Marshall.
Yeah.
Tell me about coffee pods, though, while we're on things that cannot be recycled.
Now, I'd like to brag and say that both Marshall and I do not own one of these coffee pod machines.
No.
Very good.
Okay, so what's the deal with these guys?
Well, talk about consumer confusion. So we have manufacturers that make pods out of aluminum, that make pods out of cardboard, that make pods out of non-recyclable plastic, that make pods out of recyclable plastic. And then we have this thing that is you have to actually take it apart. So you have to take off the foil, which is not recyclable. You have to empty out the grinds. And then maybe some people put them in the blue box. By and large, though, people aren't taking them apart. The people are confused. Municipalities have just said no coffee pods.
I think
Please don't put coffee pods in the blue box.
So they're going in the landfill because I think, and I don't want to judge anybody out there, but if it were me, if I was buying something that convenient, I would not be taking it apart and washing it and recycling it.
Well, there are a couple of companies that have their own take-back program, so you have to put them in an envelope and you have to mail them. So if you're going to use these, we encourage you to use whatever
utilize
opportunity
that.
you have to recycle. But in the municipal systems, please, coffee pods, go back to make yourself a pot of coffee. Coffee pods cannot go into the blue box.
You mentioned foil. Is tin foil recyclable?
Yes, tinfoil and paper plates.
Yeah.
Paper plates, metal plates,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Just make it so it's clean. You know, like tinfoil. Sometimes you pull it off the lasagna; it's all covered with cheese.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
But if it's well wiped off, use it again. Go back to what your grandma did. Use it
they
and
did.
use it and use it and use it. That's right. And then you can crunch it all up and put it into the containers only blue box.
Yeah, they did reuse all of that, and I'm just remembering that now. What about these bags? We've got the frozen berry bags and the bread bag and the chip bag. What is their level? Because I do put those in
Whoa, okay. Good
Oh,
thing we're talking about
This
that.
could be from my house.
I did not think chip bag. Yeah.
Chip bags are non-recyclable. It's that
Okay.
laminated plastic again. It's
Laminated
not recyclable.
plastic.
Yeah.
No, it's for the bags. We do take some plastic bags, and again, we can't take anything with a laminated. So the some plastic bags. The bag list is actually pretty simple. So it's bread bags, dry cleaning bags, milk bags, both the inner and the outer. So just
Okay.
rinse out the inner though. But those inner bags are wonderful freezer bags. Cut off the top, rinse it
Yeah,
all
my
off.
parents
They're
did that.
thick. Yeah, I run them through my washing machine. Yeah,
Oh,
actually.
smart.
Salt bags too. Cut off the big handle. Those big
Oh,
heavy
really?
handles.
Okay.
Yep, and we can take Ziploc bags too, as long as they're empty. The key is that it has to be empty. Shake out anything that's in there.
Right.
Put all of your loose bags into one bag, tie it all up again so the wind doesn't travel, and then put them in with your paper. What we're finding though is that people are forgetting to empty stuff out of their grocery bags or out of their retail bags. So we're finding odd things like the battery forgotten in there or the chunk of broccoli forgotten in there. You have to
Right.
make sure, shake it all out, make sure it's completely empty. Now, these are the only type of bags that we can take. There's some bags we cannot take. So that is a pouch bag, and that is made with laminate material.
So I think I
Cannot
knew
take the pouch bag.
this
Cannot take
crinkly one was bad, but I didn't know this freezer one was.
It's the pouch bottom, and pouch bottoms come not just with vegetables, but it does come with other types of products. So anything with the pouch bottom, because it's a laminate, we cannot take it.
That's news to me. Thank you for teaching
No
me that.
pouch bottom, and you're right with the crinkle.
The crinkle,
and
yeah.
the chip bags. We
Right.
see so many chip bags. They are not recyclable. They are not recyclable.
Mm-hmm.
So just stick to your basics: food, bread, vegetables, and then you kind of got it covered.
What about a Buzz Lightyear toy from
Yeah.
Toy Story?
Where did this? I see you've got this Buzz Lightyear here.
Because I get asked about that all the time. What about Buzz Lightyear?
Was that in a blue bin?
Yeah, we get toys all the time. You saw that on our walk of
I
bloopers.
did.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they're toys. But there's also with toys, there can be batteries, there could be electronics in there. Some
So
toys.
there's nothing wrong with this toy.
No, actually, this one works. There we go. He even speaks. Yeah, so
Oh
he
my.
works. We just cannot. Please don't put toys into the blue box. There's lots of moving parts in here.
Yeah.
We cannot take him. But I do keep Buzz Lightyear around because he's a reminder for my pop cans. I like to talk about pop
Okay.
cans. Right now, the statistic is about only 50% of pop cans go into the blue box.
People are throwing them in the garbage.
Where are they? They're usually you're not in your house. You're out. You're about. You can't find a blue box.
Right.
You put it into garbage. Please,
Right.
please, please, please take your pop can home with you in your backpack. Take responsibility for your own garbage. Maybe walk an extra 10 feet to the blue box. Make sure these get into the blue
Right.
box. Like these are easy
Yeah.
to recycle.
Mm-hmm.
And aluminum is a beautiful recycling material in that it can be recycled over and over and over and over again.
And what you told me today was actually, so I believed the myth that I was told or that I had seen in the media, which is that all of our aluminum is being shipped like to China to be recycled.
No.
So this is being recycled locally, our
All
aluminum.
of our stuff is recycled locally. There are a lot of local recycling processors if you can get the stuff well sorted. Yes.
And
Matter
clean.
of fact, well, yeah, rinse it all out. If you don't rinse it all out, you're liable to get wasps and bees.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But put it into your blue box within 2 weeks. If you put it in your blue box, it can be reformed, repainted, refilled, and back to your store.
Wow.
But I want to tie them into Buzz because sometimes we forget that this isn't just stuff. It came from a natural resource. Do you know what natural resource aluminum came from? No?
Well, my kid probably knows.
It probably knows.
So you've got a large rock here.
Got a large.
And
This
what's
is
going on?
bauxite.
Bauxite.
So this is bauxite. So bauxite, we in Canada, we are large aluminum smelters because we have the smelting plants up northern Ontario, northern Quebec. We have, relatively cheap electricity. We don't mine bauxite anymore in Canada because we've overmined it. So we do get bauxite sent to us from big mines in Jamaica, in New Zealand. New one opened up in Brazil.
Wow.
So they send us the rock, we melt it down. It takes about, and I'm going to use pounds, it takes about 4 pounds of rock. This is the raw resource that's been melted down to make 32 cans.
Yeah.
Think of that.
Wow.
Think of that. Where it's coming from halfway around the world, then it goes through the smelting process, which is running 24/7 up in northern Ontario, northern Quebec. I'm eliminating many processes too, like the transportation, the filling cost, but just the natural resource that we're using to make this can, and then 50% of it's thrown out.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to throw these out. We don't need to go back and mine more bauxite. We have a ton of bauxite right here, but we're just stripping the earth with the natural resources. And 4 pounds to make 32 cans, it blows your mind. So
It
what does
does.
Buzz say?
To infinity and beyond.
How many times can I recycle this pop can?
To infinity and beyond.
Yes,
I love it.
Only if you put it in the blue box.
If you put it in the blue box.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's
Buzz-
amazing.
Buzz is amazing. Buzz is my friend.
That box site reminds me of a previous neighbor who would sometimes put bricks and rocks in his recycling. Not only does that exceed, I'm sure, the weight, but also I guess some people just think this seems like natural materials, and I guess that's what people think sometimes when it comes to recycling, that if they have something that seems fairly natural, there's a process for it, but there isn't.
There isn't, not with recycling. No, not with recycling. We can only take we only will accept, we'll only collect what our processors will process.
What about small items? I think about, so let's say my family goes out to a big box store not far from here, and there's lots of samples on a Saturday. So little paper cups and little plastic spoons, and they keep them all and they bring them all home because there's no recycling there. And those things make it into the bin, but they're really small. It's hard to picture, first of all, the person coming with the truck sorting those things.
We tend to lose some in the conveyor belts.
Yeah, I'm sure. So the size-wise, I think, am I right in saying some of those small things are
Tiny ones. Yeah, if you can avoid putting those into the blue box. But so you've just said it was a paper cup. So if it's a paper cup, that can go into the green bin. Because in the green bin, we can take...
Oh, right.
Don't forget about the green bin.
Yeah.
We can take all the food, including bones and nuts and stuff like that. But we can take paper products because paper
That's
is
right.
organic.
They go into the green bin. Yeah,
That's
little paper
right.
ones.
So paper plates, paper towels, that kind of stuff, put those into the green bin. But also fast food wrappers. You get paper bags of a donut or, a wrapper for a sandwich. If it's paper, that can all, fry cups, those can go into the green bin. Just try to keep out plastic. We can't take plastic into the green bin.
Now, some people are lining their green bin with the compostable plastic, and I thought that was a no-no.
Well, we do recommend lining it. It's not essential, but it's highly recommended. You can line it with paper, but a few years ago we did start accepting compostable plastic bags. So they're certified compostable. That means they've been lab tested to break down in our municipal facility. The municipal facility can transfer or can convert food to really good quality compost in about 12 weeks because it's a closed environment. And this is all a natural process. This is Mother Nature's recipe. Yeah. This is no chemicals, no anything. It's all natural. But because it's a closed environment, it's quite a bit faster than your backyard composter that's outside. So the certified compostable plastic bags have been lab tested. They do break down within the time frame of a municipal composting facility.
Amazing. So does this help with people understanding what to do with their dog waste?
Yes. Yeah, it helps people even use the green bin a little bit more because those bags are a little bit cleaner. Mind you, keep in mind they're meant to break down. Don't keep them sitting around with full of food for a few weeks because they will start to break down. But you can use any paper liner, the compostable liner. What we cannot take, though, is like compostable plastic plates. We're seeing a little bit more.
Oh, I have seen those. Yeah,
bamboo plates,
right? Because
they don't break down in the time frame that we have because it's such a quick time frame.
We need to go back to that original point we were talking about in the sorting center. There needs to be a better symbiosis between manufacturer, consumer, and the recycling centers. Well, because why are we selling them if we can't do anything with them?
Yeah, so the province is looking at revamping the blue box with the manufacturers more involved. Yeah. So they're looking at addressing that problem for sure. But we do also have lots of ways to find out. So we have something called the WasteWiz. You can download the free WasteWiz app to your phone, and you can just quickly type it in, and that will give you directions on what is. And recycling changes. Material types change, so recycling change. Don't go back on the rules you learned 20 years ago. Please check often again on what can be. But I just want to tell you a little bit more about the compost. The compost is so beautiful when it's done because of the Waterloo region, we've never accepted plastic bags. Some other municipalities, we learned from them, they did take plastic bags. But our compost is so beautiful. It's highly tested. All our compost goes back to farmers in southwestern Ontario. It goes back onto the fields. This compost will actually change the structure of the soil. So it adds nutrients to the soil. It helps the soil retain water. We had a bit of drought a couple of years ago. It stays in the soil for about 3 years. We have more farmers asking us for compost than we can give them compost.
What a great position to be in.
It is a great, please compost all that you can. Think about these things. But it's a closed loop system. So we tell this, think about this. You buy your food, you eat your food, you put any food left over into the green bin. We turn it into compost, so it goes back to the farmers.
And we eat it again.
And we eat it again. It starts all over again. It's a
beautiful.
zero waste program. It is a wonderful, wonderful program for that.
I just want to ask too, we were talking on our tour, when you were describing the new rollout for the garbage pickup system and when we introduced the green bin system to the entire region and how that changed how much garbage and or material you were bringing into to this facility. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. We do have, how many landfills do you think we have in the region of Waterloo?
I just know this one and one closed one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only have the one. We have the one operating landfill. People think we have 4 or 5. We have endless landfill. We only have one operating landfill, and you've seen it. It's
a big one.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's a big operation. Running
It's
a
big.
landfill is a lot of design
And
work,
complicated.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and the technology involved. I mean,
Sophisticated.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it is safe. You can live by it. We don't have stuff leaking out into the environment, into the soil, into the water, into the air. So we do everything with a design to make it a safe landfill.
And of course, I want to go back to the original point, but that is something that we were saying a lot of people don't realize. There is no leaching. There's no toxins coming into our local environment. This is a controlled system.
That's right. Sometimes I see things, it's leaking out of the landfill. No, the landfill is designed with a clay liner. It's 3 meters of compacted clay. That's taller than a school bus. It is designed to hold garbage in. Mm-hmm. So nothing
You'll know how
leaks out
tough
of
that
it.
is if you've ever tried to plant a tree in your backyard in the Waterloo region.
With the clay.
You'll reach clay,
That's
believe
right.
me.
Well, it's even tougher here.
Yeah,
The stuff
3
is
meters.
it's designed so that we're not losing stuff into the environment. Our goal is to protect the environment. Yeah.
And then so there's garbage juice we're talking about.
So now volumes of garbage coming in. So before we had the changes, and that we were talking about 2016, we were seeing about 900 tons a day of garbage coming into our one and only landfill. And that's just from the region of Waterloo. We only take
900.
garbage from the region of Waterloo.
Right.
When we introduced the waste service changes in 2017, we went to every second week garbage collection. Automatically, people started to think, okay, how can I recycle more? How can I use the green bin more? We had a rush on people coming into the office to get more green bins like 6 months before the changes started. I mean, a rush. We were backed out the doors for weeks and weeks and weeks. The change happened automatically. Green bin amounts went up. Like within 6 months' time, we saw green bin amounts going up about 130% in tonnage. Blue box went up in collected tonnage. Garbage went down, rapidly decreased. And right now we have a 4-bag limit for garbage, but people have become so good at sorting their garbage out that right now the average household puts out 1, maybe 2 bags of garbage every second week.
What an amazing difference.
It is huge. So now we're landfilling maybe 600 tons a day. So we've significant drop in the tons that are going into the landfill. That has a tremendous impact. Our diversion rates have increased. The amount of garbage now that is going into recycling versus going into landfill. And I loathe the word using garbage for recycling because it's not garbage. Right. It's just a resource. It can be reused again. But our rates have increased. So right now we're about a 65%. For the average household, 65% of your waste is now being diverted, being reused into the recycling programs for the blue box or the green bin. That means only about 35% is going to garbage. We still have some room for improvement.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds great, but I think we can do better.
Yeah.
I know we can do better.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. We've come a long, long way. But and I think people are encouraged. It's like the energy out there, you can feel it. People want to know. We actually have people stopping in. They're so excited about the green bin. Do you know what you can put in this thing? It's great for us to hear.
Good.
And they want us to share that story with everybody.
Yeah.
Meat bones go in there. Yeah. In the middle of the summer when it gets tough to green bin, put it in the freezer and then just put it out.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
Just all types of things. Middle of the summer too, by the way. Add extra paper. It needs extra fiber.
Yes.
Green bin needs extra fiber just like you do, but it just needs to
make some layers.
So make
and that's a great
absorb
way.
the labor.
And any paper, sorry, Marshall, any paper is okay in that green bin. Like, I mean, newsprint. I don't know what else to say.
Flyers and stuff like that.
Flyers, little cups that we were talking about. Anything that's paper.
Yeah, when it's in the summer months and it's hot, what I do is I put newspaper or flyers on my kitchen counter, and so as I'm cooking, I'm chopping
I do
into
that too, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Scrape the dishes, you roll it all up, and then I fire that whole big ball of paper into my green bin.
Sometimes I'll use an LCBO bag that I rip open, but I don't know if
once
anyone
in a
else
while.
does that.
Those are
Just
good
if I happen
bags.
to have one
That's
lying
right.
around.
Yeah.
I like the paper sacks that are coming from some grocery stores
Yeah,
too,
that's
because
new.
they're
It's great.
wonderful
Yes.
liners
Yeah.
for the green bin.
What were you going to ask, Marshall?
Part of your ongoing discussion must also be that there's so much more work to be done. Something I think about is how there's some fast food establishments that, for whatever reason, do not have recycling in there. I'll give an example of an excellent example. I think Conestoga Mall is super for the recycling program and compost.
It's pretty sophisticated
But there are places that my family will eat in once in a while, where there's a small seating area, and we're left taking our stuff home with us because, for whatever reason, there's no blue bin set up.
I'm really glad that your family goes to that extra step to take the stuff home and put it into your blue box. So we are residential focused. We collect from residents, over 170,000 households. We're funded 50% by your tax dollar. And by the way, that's about $150 a year on your tax, your property tax, for all your curbside services.
Seems like a good deal.
The landfill. So we don't pick up from businesses, but there are many, many, many other waste haulers that businesses can use to collect their garbage. All of these haulers, or the majority of these haulers, do offer recycling programs, do offer green bin programs. So I would encourage you as a purchaser in that establishment to say, where are your blue boxes? Can you get blue boxes? I think the pressure needs to come
from the consumer.
Yep. If you're there, ask them.
Yeah, even just say, I really enjoy
Eating
your food
at your establishment.
Here. Yeah, but I'm a bit discouraged by the absence.
Yeah, so the services are there, and same with the large apartment buildings. They're considered a business. We don't pick up from businesses. Again, the private haulers have services out there for green bin and for blue boxes. So if you don't have it and you fall under that category, ask for it.
Ask for it.
Yes.
Demand.
I want to ask you about a couple more things on the table here. One is, I'll describe them. The one is a vitamin bottle that we all are familiar with, that kind of dark brown plastic vitamin bottle.
Actually,
with
This one's glass, I think.
Oh,
Sorry,
glass,
I've bought
okay.
this brand before.
But it's got a label on it that I imagine is not easy to remove. And the other thing is a plastic water bottle that has something in it.
Is that the leachate?
No.
No?
I wouldn't handle the leachate. No. Okay, glass can go into the blue box, but glass typically has a different material lid on it. So separate the lid. If it's really small, put it in the garbage. Yeah. But glass can go into the blue box. We're still collecting.
And what about that label? It's really stuck on there.
The label on there is fine.
Okay.
And don't feel like you have to pull the labels off everything.
That's
like
another
pens.
myth then. Because
you can keep them on now. Yeah. We'd prefer that you have the inside clean instead of focusing on peeling that label off.
Okay, that's a really good point for people. Focus on rinsing out the container generally, not like scrubbing it with a toothbrush, you're saying.
Get the product out of it, yeah.
Then focusing on pulling on the outside label.
That's right.
So this weirard water bottle full of brown, icky juice looks like molasses.
It is molasses.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, because I think, I want people need to understand the natural resources. Do you know what natural resources are used to make plastic?
Which I don't.
Well, and mostly in Canada, a lot of plastic is made from natural gas, so fossil fuel, but a lot of plastic is made from oil, crude oil. So I know, it's shocking. Look at your face.
Yeah.
Yes, it's shocking.
Yeah, I think just to choose not to believe where it comes from.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Look at all this oil that's even sitting on this table in terms of product. Now, so what I've done is I've taken the single serve beverage bottles, 500 milliliters. I filled it a third full with molasses. That's to replicate the amount of oil that it takes to make just that one bottle.
Oh,
and
you're
the cap.
kidding. You're kidding.
We are forgetting about the natural resources that we use to make all of our stuff.
That's a lot.
And if we throw this out, what do? It goes back to mine or drill or harvest more of the natural resources, and you know the consequences that come with that. There are environmental consequences that come with any harvesting of natural resources. So this is just a reminder for people that if you have to use this, and please use that first R. Don't use single-use bottles if you can. If you have to use it, though, please make sure it goes into the blue box. Marshall, take it home with you. Put it into the blue box, because this is too much natural resource to make. It's not just the bottle.
I'm thinking right now, but how many water bottles are out there? And yeah,
water bottles, juice bottles, all kinds of things. I mean, does that scare you? Does that scare you?
A little bit. It's unsettling, just because I think we, as a consumer, I mean, it's safe to say we don't buy plastic water bottles. I think right now we probably buy more tin cans with the bubbly, sparkly waters. But when you think of how many are out there, how many, especially right now, people are loading up on water and buying it. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of natural resource. And, it takes about 17 chemical processes to turn it from that oil into a usable plastic. And then you've got all of those other processes for filling and transporting. And it's the implications are bigger than just this one little single, I'll throw it out bottle.
Kathleen, I'd like to ask you about, so the giant water jugs that go on top of water coolers in your home. There's one kind that you can take back to the same grocery store, and then there's another kind from another big box store close to here that you buy once. You can't do that. It goes into it basically fills up your recycling bin. What are your thoughts on those?
Oh, reuse always.
Yeah.
First of all, why are you using water bottles?
We have great water.
I'm a supporter of our tap water. Our tap water we're the largest community in Ontario that lives on well water. I mean, our water is wonderful. It's good for us. Yeah. If you are going to use bottled water, refill the bottle. Use whatever you can to refill it. I mean, a single use to throw it out, whether it's a little bottle or a big bottle, just seems like such a robbery of the natural resources.
Yeah, okay.
What about this? You've got a carton here with a coating and the juice box. I need to know about the juice box. I've heard so many different claims about the juice box. Is it recyclable? Is it not recyclable?
All of the cartons, so whether it has soup in it or broth in it, or whether it's the taller carton with milk or juice, or whether it's these single-serve juice boxes that you send to the kids' schools, these are all recyclable.
Now, there's a lot of material in that juice box. What happens to it?
There is. So a lot of that, please take the straw out. That cannot be recycled.
So the straw is garbage.
Yes. Please make sure it's empty. Again, there's a lot of juice that can leak out of there, and then we have a problem with wasps. But when it goes to the manufacturer, they'll put it in a hot water bath. They will pull out the little bit of aluminum that's in there that's recyclable. They are able to process this as a pulp paper. So they'll add fresh paper to it if they need it. But they'll process this into other paper materials.
That's wonderful.
Paper plates, paper napkins, and my favorite, toilet paper. I have 4 daughters. Toilet paper. Toilet paper.
Amazing.
Now, but well, it doesn't stop there, though. So when you go to the store and you're looking at this wall of paper products, you want to read the labels. You want to read the labels and buy the one that's made from 100% recycled content, because you are supporting the Blue Box program like that.
And choices that we're making to send a message back to the manufacturers.
That's right. Now, don't be fooled, though. I mean, there's some. I was at the store a couple of weeks ago. I was buying toilet paper again, not because of the virus, but because I have a lot of girls. Some of the wording in there is that this can be recycled. You can't recycle toilet paper. You can recycle the tubes, but be careful, be cautious, be smart. Read it.
Don't be duped by this wording and advertising.
Make sure it's made from 100% recycled paper. Same with your paper towels and your paper plates.
Doesn't toilet paper go into the toilet?
Yes.
But there is a lot of greenwashing out there, so you do have to be careful because they're slick. You got
greenwashing. I've never heard that term before.
Yeah, they want you to buy things that just aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Know what you can recycle and go and purchase that.
So there's a lot of human hands that are necessary. What happens is you start home by sorting your recycling. The truck pulls up, and there's a human there doing their best to sort that out. Then it arrives here, and we saw the conveyor belt where there's more hands. And then you're saying there's more human hands past that point where you mentioned taking off a piece of aluminum kind of thing.
Yep.
So this is process is not just big machines and technology, but rather humans having to basically assess every piece of recycling along the way.
Every single piece that comes in. Absolutely. It is a big process. It runs smoothly behind the scenes. Most residents don't even see it. They don't know. But I'm glad you brought that up. Think about what is behind you.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't go in the Blue Box, what's behind you for garbage? I mean, it's huge. It's huge, the processes.
And we talked about that too, where I was saying we all think it's sort of big machines and the stuff is farmed out and it's out of our hands once it's gone, and there are a lot of myths and misinformation. But yeah, it's true. There's a lot of humans in that process.
They wash all that stuff. That's what people say. You know what I mean?
Well, we still have humans handling it. Yeah,
right.
Yes, and that can be a health risk at times. If we things like the butcher knives that you had mentioned, but also broken glass. Sometimes we see dishware in the Blue Box. But just thrown in there. Yeah, we have people that stick their hands into the blue box to sort from it. I mean, broken glass is a danger. And it's also a danger at the curb. You don't want to leave stuff like that.
Totally.
That's sharp. Now, what we do have, I just want to remind you, twice a year we run public tours. So that will be a Saturday to celebrate Earth Day, and again in October to celebrate Waste Reduction Week. So we open up the landfill for tours. We hire buses. We'll give you a 1-hour tour. Staff, like myself and others, will go on the bus. We'll take you into the sorting center so you can see. I mean, it will open your eyes. It will just rock your world when you come and see that sorting center. Then we'll take you into the landfill so you can see the differences that's going to happen with your garbage. We'd encourage everybody to come in for that. So that's going to be April 25th, coming up next month.
And then October for, what did you call it? Waste Reduction Week.
Now,
the sorting center is really something you have to see for yourself.
And to know the amount of effort that goes into it and how you can have an impact at your own home, right?
Yeah, that it doesn't just disappear at the curb, that there are processes behind it.
And we also learned that your garbage can be audited.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there is... I don't want to scare people. You know, every couple of years we do a waste audit.
Like a random.
So we'll take bags from here and there and everywhere, and we'll sort through the garbage and we'll figure out what exactly is going into the landfill. And that does help us generate promotion. You know, what more education do we have?
Right.
You know, are we getting too much of this? Or perhaps it can help us adjust some of our programs too.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I think it's necessary. You know, as we've learned today, it's all about education, really. Letting people know.
With the bit of time we have left, Kathleen, what do you want to talk about in terms of what message out there? You know, sorting has been the thread through this whole conversation. But
Reducing sorting.
There's still new information coming that we need to know about how to...
I think it's really just to build a comfort level. I think that we are home with the Blue Box, and our residents are wonderful recyclers. Don't believe everything you read in the press. We do have local processors for everything, if we can reach that sorting level. And I'd mentioned on our tour that it has to be less than 1% contamination in the bale. That's really difficult to meet. So that is our current problem, getting down to that contamination level. So make it easy for you, you know, call for one of our stickers. Let us help you sort in the home.
That's good.
I like the idea of just while you're in the stores, just making those choices right off the bat and saying, well, I do really like this product, but I'm going to say no.
Or find somewhere else you can get it with a packaging that makes sense.
Yeah, I think a lot of places come along, like a zero waste bulk, for example, and it's something new and people aren't sure, and it takes a while.
Well, it's something old, though.
Right.
It is something old.
It is
That's
something
right.
old.
That's
but
right.
no, if you've never seen it, you haven't grown up with it, if your parents didn't have it, well, then how are you going to know that it exists out there?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and also, too, there's a lot of ways you can even think about things. For instance, I did an analysis on liquid soap because there's a lot of waste bottles, plastic bottles coming from our bathroom. I mean, how often do you lik soap? Go back and use a bar soap. Remember that old technology? Bar soap, you know? It takes the impact, the footprint of a liquid soap is quite a bit higher than on a bar soap. You know, we're seeing things like bar shampoo. That's maybe new that's coming up. But
me and my girls have it. It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
There we go.
It's pretty cool.
So don't just think about food in your kitchen. Think about other ways as well of how to reduce the waste that you've got going. Yeah. Recycling should be your very last option. You know, reuse it first, then recycle it.
That's such good advice. I had one thing I wanted to ask about compost, and I can leave it in or take it out. Yeah. I had heard, so again, maybe misinformation, that if any vegetable peels or fruit peels, or let's say an avocado has the sticker still on it, the plastic sticker, that causes a problem at the compost level.
No,
it doesn't.
No, take them off if you can, but a little bit is fine.
Who doesn't
those
take
are
them
food
off?
grade.
You always got to take them off. But
no, those are food grade, so that's fine.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up, because I really bought into this theory that someone gave me.
There are other things that we can focus on. I'm really glad that this discussion is going on out there in public, that we're talking about stickers and straws and stuff like that. But definitely, I think the first thing has to be your purchase decision.
Yeah.
Your purchase decision. Just be wise in what you're making with your purchase decision, and then how to use it afterwards. And we do think that there's a lot of additional capacity in homes, though, to put more into the blue box and to put more into the green bin. So we'd encourage people to use these programs to the fullest. I mean, we've done phenomenal in the last 2 years. I mean, we probably have the best residents in the province in terms of what in terms of their feeling, their connection, their emotion to recycling and why but we still have to go a little bit farther.
And keep that going for the next generations, right?
That's correct. Well, the kids know better than we do.
They
Come
do.
on, yeah.
They do.
Waterloo Region is already hailed for so many things. This is just one more reason to be proud. And maybe they're interconnected too with all the other.
Well, if people understand too, that, like how much of the stuff is recycled, that 95% of the stuff is recycled. It's not like we're throwing the stuff into the landfill. The stuff is recycled, and it's recycled locally.
You said 90 to 95%.
Yep.
Is recycled.
Is recycled of the collected blue box material. Right there, we are far and away ahead of virtually everybody else.
Yeah.
And that it's recycled locally, because there are so many places. We are not sending stuff overseas. Let's if you have any questions, give us a call. Let us tell you. Don't debate it with your neighbors and your girlfriends at the gym type of thing. Call us. Let us tell you the truth on what's happening, because we need as many ambassadors out there as we have, because the negative press, the negative myths certainly are overwhelming sometimes.
Well, I think people sort of go down that rabbit hole of, well, if it's not going to be recycled and reused, then why do I even care?
We're
right?
hearing that. Why bother?
Why bother?
Yes.
Because it matters.
Every little bit matters. We get a lot of questions about paper. Does it matter? Every little bit does matter. It's amazing what we can save in terms of not just recyclable materials, but if we take it back to the natural resources, if we back that up even to climate change, the impact that we have with our simple little purchase decision and sorting decision, it's powerful.
I don't know if there's anything else we'll talk about in our podcast series that has more misinformation than probably recycling.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I think that this is the most educational thing that we've sort of gone through. I mean, I've enjoyed everyone that we've talked to, and we've learned so many things, but I really thought I knew what I was doing with the Blue Box program, and now I can say how much more I can actually do just to make that difference and try and bring that 90 to 95% up.
Yeah. We should be so proud of that. Oh,
Yeah.
That is a community proud, just like the Home of the Blue Box. I mean, we're still doing it.
Oh, this is important, people. Go out and do it.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you very much.
So much. So educational. So much fun.
Buzz Lightyear to the rescue!
Hey, all. Thanks for meeting us in Bond Park. Please like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on the platform that you're listening to. And follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bond Park Podcast. Original music by Alan Lung.